Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Vegan Tour Guide Podcast with your host, Mike Knight, where we'll bring you great information about a vegan plant-based diet. It doesn't matter if you've been vegan for years, part-time vegan, or just gathering more information. This podcast is for you. Thanks again for joining, and let's get today's tour started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Vegan Tour Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Knight, and I hope you are having a phenomenal day. Thank you so much for tuning in. For everybody coming back, welcome back. Appreciate it. Thank you for helping spread the word, the knowledge, and information to everyone else about even the past podcasts we've got up at vegantourguide.com. Plus, of course, you can always find them at iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and places like that. And for all you new listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. The goal is to always provide you with a lot of great knowledge and information about, plant-based vegan and wherever it may meet you in life. If you're just starting out, or if you've already maybe, been phasing a few meals in here and there, give you some more ideas. And also for those of you that have, like myself, that have been plant-based vegan for a while, just gives you more information about what's going on out there. And also how you can help spread the information and help others, along their journey. Because the nice thing is it does get easier and easier to make all these transitions as time goes by because of the growth and the knowledge that we're all sharing. And so that is what today's show is especially about. Speaking of knowledge, all right, and sharing, that is because we've got Nelson Campbell on the show. A lot of you know Nelson Campbell from his groundbreaking Plant Pure Nation film, his documentary. Phenomenal. If you haven't seen that and checked it out, we're going to put a link in the show notes, so you check it out there, but you've got to see the Plant Pure Nation film because, that is kind of Nelson will tell you that was the beginning, the launch, if you will, for what he's going to talk about today, which is his Healing America campaign. All right, it's I don't want to, get too far ahead because he'll explain everything in the podcast, but is another new initiative that, Nelson, along with his father, Dr. Campbell, that a lot of you have also heard about, possibly read Dr. Campbell's book, The China Study. And so we've got a lot of information that Nelson's going to bring, talk about his new campaign, how you can get involved in that new campaign, where it's going to be going across the country, and what his goals are there. All right. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to help spread the word information. Check out the past episodes at vegantourguide.com. And for now, everybody get ready as I welcome onto the show, Nelson Campbell. Everyone, welcome to the Vegan Tour Guide Podcast. I'm very, very happy to have Nelson Campbell on here with us. Nelson, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yes, well, we've got some exciting things to talk about. And, my listeners vary. A lot of them I know. And in the plant-based world, you obviously need no introduction. However, at the same time, if you don't mind, maybe a little bit of background just for some of my listeners that are, a lot of them come that are brand new, that are just gathering information, that are still kind of curious as to what, plant-based vegan's all about. So do you mind just a little bit of background for those people, maybe kind of your journey and how everything unfolded for you in going plant-based?
Okay. Well, I've been plant-based since my early 20s, or, maybe even, I guess I started going plant-based in my teens. And that was because my father is Dr. Colin Campbell, and he's a well-known nutritional researcher and did a lot of the work, a lot of the science that validated this health concept. And he started working on this back in the late 60s and 1970s. And so as he began to see the evidence pointing in this direction, our family started making a dietary shift, and that happened in my teens. So I've been an advocate of this way of eating for a long time. My background is I oftentimes say, as a socially conscious entrepreneur. And so I've done a lot of different things over my life. And I decided at a certain point that I wanted to start an organization to help get this message deeper into the mainstream. And so I left a prior company I had started, and I started down this path. And as I was on this journey, an opportunity came up to do something I'd never done before, which was to produce a film. And so I directed and wrote a film called Plant Pure Nation. which came out in theaters in 2015 across the country, and it's been on Netflix and Amazon and iTunes since. That film was produced to answer the question a lot of people have: how could this health message, something that's so life-changing, how could it have been suppressed for so long? And so the film answers that question through a dramatic storyline that begins with the legislature in Kentucky, goes back to North Carolina, and then back to Kentucky, where we confront the legislature in a dramatic way. So that film came out in 2015, and since the release of the film, I've been working with a very talented team of people to develop various tools and services to help get this idea deeper into the mainstream. So basically, I took 3 years off to do the film, and then circled back to the earlier ideas that I'd had, and so we've developed various tools and services, and we also have started plant-based support groups around the country. We call these groups pods, because we're planting a lot of seeds in local communities, and subsequently moved that whole pod network over to a nonprofit that I started called Plant Pure Communities. So we also have a nonprofit arm. And now we're getting ready to do something really exciting, which is our Healing America campaign. But
Yes.
anyways, that kind of gets us up to the current day.
Exactly. And, and I've told a lot of people that, like you said, that first film, The Plant Pure Nation, that came out, it was just, I loved the concept you did with that, because you just put so much raw data out there for people and showing them. And then it's, as you watch that movie unfold and you bring so much data to everybody, and then you just unfortunately see what happens at the government level. And so I've got to imagine a lot of that is what has propelled you now for the Healing America campaign, the reaction that you got, especially at that government, politics level.
Yes, very much so. I believe that, we need to take a more bottom-up approach to healing our world, not just with respect to healthcare, but everything. And we have to figure out how to better empower, organize, resource, and inspire and educate local communities to fix problems. And that's really the approach that we're going to take through our Healing America campaign. What we're getting ready to do, Mike, is we're bundling together everything that we've developed, including a line of really affordable food products. We're bundling all this together along with a new social networking platform that we also have developed into a program. We're calling it our Plant Pure Cities program. And this is a program that we'll be able to use to launch health campaigns in cities and communities across the country. So what we want to do is we want to select one location first. It might be Durham, North Carolina. That's what we're leaning toward, just because it's nearby, where we can launch a citywide campaign targeting all the various sectors of the community and working with local partners to implement projects to get this message out to as many people as possible, including especially underserved neighborhoods that have been ignored in the past, where the healthcare crisis is most severe. And in fact, we're even working on an idea of where we could provide really ultra inexpensive food into these neighborhoods with no profit markup through our nonprofit into some of these communities. So anyways, the idea is to launch that effort in a single city, and then we want to film what we do and stream out short videos that we can share with people following us, because that we hope will lead to the third phase, which is scaling the model across the country. We want people to say, hey, come here, bring this model here, and work with us to do this in our own community. And to kick all of this off, my dad and I are going to do a tour across the country to about 6 or 7, maybe 8 different cities across the country to deliver a presentation that we've been thinking about for a long time that will help to kind of lay an ideological foundation for the subsequent effort. We're going to talk about health and biology and the environment, economics, government, politics, but all leading toward this idea that I shared at the outset, which is the idea of empowering local communities to solve problems. I think this is an idea that has the potential to unify people regardless of their political persuasion. And that's what we're wanting to do, is we're wanting to unify people and rally people behind this idea, get as many people following along on this journey as possible, so that when it comes time to really scale this effort, that we have a lot of people who can be a part of it.
Well, I love the sound of it. And as you and I, know, and others that are, more actively involved, we see so much coming this way, which has been awesome. Like, I look back at 2017 and just seeing especially the changes, positive changes that were made, and, seeing now hospitals opening up a little bit, some areas for food plants, especially a lot of Humane League effort there, getting, hospitals there, plus also some campuses. And then you see the businesses now that are just how the growth of plant-based in that sector is growing more and more. So I'm so happy that, the people, their mindset is open. It seems like more now than ever. And so I love now, like with what you're doing, rolling out in 2018 to really, help further push that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I think we have a lot of reasons for optimism, and you just hit the nail on the head. It's that people are more open to this. So even folks that aren't doing this, it doesn't seem like such a strange idea to them as it might have been in years past. So there's an openness, but we also have to recognize that while we're making progress, there's a lot of work to do. You can go, into any community across the country, and very few people are doing this. So we have a lot of work to do, and I actually think that the need to get this done faster is very urgent. This is we need to make this change faster, and part of the reason for that is environmental. There's a tremendous connection between the food that we eat and the issue of climate change, and that connection actually has been understated by some of the prior reports that have been put out by the UN, and this is a story that we're going to tell on the tour. There's a very strong link, and in fact, the food we eat is the biggest contributor to the issue of global warming, and it's a very serious issue. And so I think we need to move as quickly as we can on this. We can't work this out over the next 100 years. We've got to make this change faster.
Well, do you mind just delving in a little bit to that for the listeners, like that impact, that direct link that you referenced there between the food and what's going on with the environment? Can you give a little bit of insight into that?
Well, sure. First of all, producing calories through an animal is highly inefficient. You've got to grow all the crops to feed the animal, and you've got to raise the animal, and all the steps along the way, it just consumes an enormous amount of energy. So that's one thing. The other thing, and this is the piece that's often been understated, in the past, is the deforestation that occurs as a result of animal agriculture. So, vast areas of the Earth's landmass has been deforested to accommodate animal agriculture, and it's happening very quickly now in the tropics. So vast areas of forest are being cut down. Literally the lungs of the earth are being cut down so that we can graze cattle and we can grow crops to feed cattle. There's also the issue of methane. Livestock emit a tremendous amount of methane, and methane is a far more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. And the concern that a lot of scientists have now is that we're nearing tipping points. There are all kinds of feedback loops. It's a very complex system, the climate. And there are feedback loops that keep appearing that weren't seen beforehand. And so these feedback loops can be really problematic because they're self-reinforcing and they cause further acceleration in the rate of change. And so this is a serious issue, and like I said, we don't have the luxury of time to figure this out. We've got to make this change happen as fast as possible.
Okay, well, so speaking with the change, and I know that is a huge part of the Healing America campaign, where, for instance, I know you kind of said starting out, have you picked that first location? Maybe we can let the listeners know kind of where does that start?
Well, the tour that I had mentioned, that my father and I are taking, that starts in Tampa, Florida, and that'll be January 20th. And then we go to the next week, January 28th, in Huntington, Long Island, outside of New York City. And then I believe it's February 3rd is Atlanta. And then we start moving to Houston and then out to the West Coast and to St. Louis. And also we've added Detroit. All those dates, by the way, are at healingamericatogether.com.
Okay.
So we encourage people to go there. There's a video as well that explains the strategy. And then we encourage people to sign up because then we can update. We'll be able to update you and also send the videos that we produce along the way. We'll be able to send those directly to you.
Well, fantastic. Well, all right. So people listening, as we talk about this and as you start going, and obviously I'm the same way, I'm going to make sure I even put that in the show notes, reminding people to sign up so they can follow along with this and become part of this change you're leading, because I love the fact of where, like you said, a lot of the focus too is to make change at that government level and to, get in touch there. Because again, for people that haven't seen it, they have to watch Plant Pure Nation, your film, and they'll get a big insight as to what we talked about earlier, you and I, that propelled you kind of on, part of propelling here with Healing America. And so what can they also do maybe in their local area when they're listening, and as this progresses, what would you advise them on how they can get involved even on a local level?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Mike. We are going to have a very specific call to action at these events that we're holding, explaining to people how they can get involved. And as I said, the first step is just get plugged in, so that we can update folks and send videos, which will give them a look in to the journey. We also would love for people to support a crowdfunding campaign that we're going to launch the same time, January 20th. We have big plans and require resources to implement those plans, and that's been a struggle for us, probably more so than a lot of people may think, because they think Plant Pure is this national organization and we're doing a lot of things. But funding has been difficult because we have purposefully stayed away from venture capital type funding because we want to keep control of the social mission of what we're doing. It's not all about money, and we never want it to be all about money. So the crowdfunding campaign is something we want people to check out when that's launched. Also, we do have these Plant Pure pods. These are local support groups. And so if there's not a pod in the community that someone's located in, they can go to plantpurecommunities.org and go through there to set up a pod. And then the most important way in which people will be able to contribute, to be involved, will be to work with other people in their community to launch this community model that we're going to demonstrate in this first city. That's why we want people to be plugged in. We want people watching so that they can learn and be inspired to bring that model into their own community. So we want everyone out there who's following us to become part of this revolution and to become engaged in their own communities.
Awesome. And one thing I want to add also onto that is I know from your site and what y'all do, and I want to pass this on to the listeners, piggyback on when you said, hey, in case there's not one in their area, I know you guys give a lot of support. And so I want to let people know that if they are, that they find themselves in an area where there isn't one of the pods yet, like you said, reach out to you. I know y'all give a lot of support to people, so anyone listening, please reach out.
Yes, and we've got a wonderful team over at the nonprofit, which is actually, I should underscore, it's independent of PlantPure. It's its own 501c3, and so they have their own team and their own leadership, independent of PlantPure, but they are doing an excellent job of managing the pod network, and we have a lot of plans that that we have for 2018 to help invigorate and expand that network.
Well, that's and I know obviously a lot of the question or a lot of the answer to this question is going to be centered around the Healing America. Beyond that, and I know that's where obviously your focus is going to be. What do you see holistically, like big goals you'd like to see also for just plant-based, vegan out there in our world for 2018? What are even just when you look at it, you're like, look, this would be a banner great year. What does that look like to you?
Well, I think it would be very much related to these plans that I've shared with you today. I would like to see a real movement afoot, just a real movement spreading across the country within local communities. Not just, we've made a good start. We're getting the information out there. People are getting interested. There's some support groups being set up. People are buying more products in stores. But like I said, we've just scratched the surface, and I'm hoping that we can see a more organized movement emerging in local communities across the country, and a more organized movement that also is about more than just health. We need to unify different groups that are connected to this idea, but who haven't been working together in the past. You have people who are concerned about the environment, people who are concerned about social justice issues, people concerned about animal welfare and all of this. And we need to have a movement that brings all these various groups together in a way that is more organized and more impactful and even, dare I say, more political. I think we need to build a coalition and have something that even has a political impact. And so I'm hoping that by the end of this year that we see real evidence that kind of movement is taking shape.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love the word you kept emphasizing there, and that is organized. Because as you and I know, we look back throughout history of this country, history of businesses, history of organizations. Organization, like you said, is what always propels movements, agendas, ideologies forward. Like I said, a lot of times, a lot of people with best intentions that aren't organized, you and I both know, just they unfortunately, even with best intentions, don't get very far. And the organization is so important because through organization, then it's possible to engage more people and to develop more leadership. We can't rely on any small group of people to make change. Even in the plant-based community, I know that we do have some real change agents within that community and folks that we look up to or follow. But that's not enough. We need to engage millions of people in this effort and make everyone a leader. No one of us is more important than any other of us. We're all important, and also it's not the magnitude of contribution that's so important, but just the active contributing, and we're all equal in that. And so we need to be organized in a way that enables everyone to participate and express leadership in their own communities where they live. And that's what I'm hoping we can do. Yep. No, I'm with you. And I want to see that so bad. And even like you said earlier, one thing that I love, and that is, like you said, multiple people come together maybe for different reasons. because a lot of people that I talk to that, plant-based vegan to them, some do come for environmental reasons. Some come for animals, some come for health. And the greatest thing I love about this is that making you this one change, you get to positively impact all three. And now people, like you said, let's get the organization and let's start spreading the word and telling more people. And I can't wait for you to kick off the Healing America campaign, because I know I love Plant Pure Nation. I know so many people that did. And now we get to see, if you will, the second generation, your second plan of, all right, we know, kind of what happened last time when we came with all this information and took it there to Kentucky in front of everybody. And now this campaign, I think, is the one that can really, push things in the best positive directions that we've been looking for a long time.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. And we want to, as I said, we want to get as many people involved as possible. We don't want this to be about, just Plant Pure or any of us in particular, but we want to create a strategy and implement a strategy that brings people together and leverages the leadership of a lot of other people.
Well, I know you're running like crazy. You're busy, so I appreciate so much the time. Let's tell them one more time, and of course I'm going to put it in the show notes, but let's tell them one more time the website to go to so they can sign up and get the updates from you and follow.
All right. So the website I suggest people go to is healingamericatogether.com.
Okay.
And you can check out a video there, sign up for sure. Our tour schedule's there, and that may expand a little bit beyond what's listed there. We also have our own website at plantpurenation.com. People can check that out. The nonprofit is plantpurecommunities.org.
Gotcha. Fantastic. Well, Nelson, I can't thank you enough for coming on and to spread this information. I look forward to following up with you. Anything else you want to make sure we get out to people?
Just to take a look at what we're doing. We need as many eyeballs as possible. We need as much support as we can garner. You can't have a revolution without people. So we just need to get the word out. And I appreciate you helping us do this, and appreciate also the work that you do. I always like to pay homage to folks that are out there doing the same thing. You're helping to get the word out to a lot of people. And I really appreciate what you do.
Well, thank you so much. It's, a lot of what I do is because when I saw, truthfully, you and like you talked about earlier, your family and how much y'all have put into this and the effort, and just, I was moved by that information. And I just said, I want to spread knowledge and information. That's my goal. Spread knowledge and information to people. And so that's why I appreciate you coming on today, putting that knowledge information out there to people, where now people can get actively involved and encourage others to get actively involved. And together we can all make positive change.
We can. And thank you, Mike, for having me on today.
Yeah. Awesome, Nelson. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, Nelson Campbell. Thank you so much again for coming on this edition of the Vegan Tour Guide and for filling us all in on the information of what's coming with the Healing America campaign. I know I speak for, many others in addition to myself when I tell you Plant Pure Nation was an incredible film. It was a documentary film that it needed to be done because it was unlike any of the other types of documentaries that have done, and impacted so many people to help them see why it is important to make these changes, to plant-based vegan. So I can't wait as this Healing America campaign unfolds. Kind of like you said, the phases for everyone. Listen, don't forget the phases that Nelson went over. He's going to be starting at a location, where one spot so they can really immerse themselves and reaching out to organizations in those areas, all over the city, especially the served sectors of the city. That's a key driving point too. A lot of times you hear even the term like food deserts and all like that, where just these areas of town are not able to get access to a lot of, plant-based foods. And so I love that is one of the big, focal points of this campaign. And then Nelson's going to be sending out the short videos to everybody as this goes on, and then taking it, scaling it all the way this model across the country to continue to make bigger impacts. All right, so don't forget, everybody, how do we get involved and support Nelson on this campaign? Well, we go to www.healingamericatogether.com. All right. And then you sign up there, and that way you'll continually get updated on what's going on. And then don't forget also getting involved in the pods. Okay. Like he said, there's the pod that started out with Plant Pure Nation, because a lot of people are always like, hey, how can I get involved? How can I help out? Well, get involved with these pods. All right. And then last but not least, don't forget, let's also help via the crowdfunding. Like you said, that's getting ready to be announced. They'll send information out once you sign up on when the crowdfunding's going. But like he said, I mean, it takes, this financial support to help make this happen. And they want to make sure that, they have, as he calls it, total control of the social mission of what they're doing. That's why they've never taken that path that's been readily available to them through venture capital money and stuff like that. Nelson, and his father, Dr. Campbell, and the other people there at Plant Pure Nation, their focus was making sure that it's always the best interest of this mission, at all times. And so I respect that. And I respect and appreciate going the crowdfunding route in order to raise funds. So everybody, give what you can. Every little bit helps him continue to push this. And we've all seen, just last year alone, like he and I talked about in the interview, the incredible changes, the incredible advances that are happening, with the Plant Pure, and also in the whole vegan, and plant-based community. All right. So everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Thank you in advance for just please spreading this word, passing this podcast on to others, sending them the link or just directing them to go to iTunes or Stitcher, Google Play, any of the sources that you like to find it on. And also going to the website, vegantourguide.com, to listen to this and forward it on, plus the blog post. Hey, I always love getting your email. So don't forget, email me at vegantourguide@gmail.com. Follow us, facebook.com, /Vegan Tour Guide. I'm Vegan Tour Guide everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything there. Just look up Vegan Tour Guide and you'll find us. Follow us. Can't wait to hear from you. And until next time, everybody, don't forget, live Pura Vida.